It is always important to remember that the oral committee was tasked by His Excellency the President to receive complaints of looting of state resources, and complaints do not constitute irrefutable evidence of criminality. Our investigators have diligently concluded investigations in the following cases: the SkyTrain, National Service Ghost Name Scandal, District Road Improvement Project or DRIP, National Lotteries, Palgu Multipurpose Dam, SML, Frontier Healthcare Services, Free Wi-Fi, National Ambulance, Boankra Integrated Inland Logistics Terminal, Sputnik V vaccines case, and the land looting cases. In the case of the land looting cases, 8 have been completed, and then 1 is outstanding. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me give you a sense of what pertains. When the dockets are brought to my office, and the latest set of dockets were brought 2 weeks ago, I go through them diligently with the prosecution staff, the attorneys in the prosecution division, and other lawyers we work with, and then we can build a case and advise the investigators as to what to do when we find loopholes that may be exploited by defense attorneys. So I want to give 2 examples. In the case of the Boankra Integrated Inland Logistics Terminal, the report has been returned to my office. We have done our reading of the report and analysis of it, and we've come to the conclusion that there is a need for us to have a value for money audit, because that is the only way by which we'll determine the extent to which there was malfeasance relating to the finances of the project. But so far, nothing has been discovered that should, cause us to take action in court in terms of criminality. I'll give another example. The District Road Improvement Project, which is DRIP. We did the investigation. The preliminary report was returned to my office. I studied it. I gave directions as to what to do. And the investigators have went back to do their work. And they came back with a report that I can tell you has, pinpointed certain acts of malfeasance that we are working on. It is always important to remember that the oral committee was tasked by His Excellency the President to receive complaints of looting of state resources, and complaints do not constitute irrefutable evidence of criminality. Our investigators have diligently concluded investigations in the following cases: the SkyTrain, National Service Ghost Name Scandal, District Road Improvement Project or DRIP, National Lotteries, Palgu Multipurpose Dam, SML, Frontier Healthcare Services, Free Wi-Fi, National Ambulance, Boankra Integrated Inland Logistics Terminal, Sputnik V vaccines case, and the land looting cases. In the case of the land looting cases, 8 have been completed, and then 1 is outstanding. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me give you a sense of what pertains. When the dockets are brought to my office, and the latest set of dockets were brought 2 weeks ago, I go through them diligently with the prosecution staff, the attorneys in the prosecution division, and other lawyers we work with, and then we can build a case and advise the investigators as to what to do when we find loopholes that may be exploited by defense attorneys. So I want to give 2 examples. In the case of the Boankra Integrated Inland Logistics Terminal, the report has been returned to my office. We have done our reading of the report and analysis of it, and we've come to the conclusion that there is a need for us to have a value for money audit, because that is the only way by which we'll determine the extent to which there was malfeasance relating to the finances of the project. But so far, nothing has been discovered that should, cause us to take action in court in terms of criminality. I'll give another example. the District Road Improvement Project, which is DRIP. We did the investigation. The preliminary report was returned to my office. I studied it. I gave directions as to what to do. And the investigators have gone back to do went back to do their work. And they came back with a report that I can tell you has, pinpointed certain acts of malfeasance that we are working on. Now to the rumble in the jungle. The buffer stock investigation, which are nicknamed the rumble in the jungle, as at March 2020, when we announced the arrest and detention of suspects Kobna Iduboahin and his wife Angela Eje Boateng, the Economic and Organized Crime Office had gathered credible intelligence regarding a criminal enterprise that had been operated by the former Chief Executive Officer of the National Food and Buffer Stock Company Limited, Mr. Hanan Abdul Wahab. Initial estimates put the amount of money pilfered by Mr. Abdul Wahab and his collaborators at the time at around 58 million Ghana cedis, far in excess of the 49 million suspected to have been stolen by Mr. Iduboahin and his co-accused persons. I called the criminal enterprise operated by Abdul Wahab and his collaborators at Buffer Stock the rumble in the jungle, not only because of the huge amount of money at stake, but because of the fact that while food suppliers were wailing and gnashing their teeth due to failure to pay them for supplies to the buffer stock, and while our school kids were being denied nutrition under the school feeding program for lack of funds, Mr. Abdul Wahab and his collaborators were busy lawlessly looting funds meant for the program. That is jungle behavior. The informal meaning of the word rumble is to discover illicit activity or the perpetrator of the illicit activity. Through painstaking investigations, the EOCO discovered this illicit criminal enterprise run by a gang of corrupt, lawless officials at the Buffer Stock Company. On June 25, 2025, the EOCO conducted a coordinated operation based upon their initial investigations, which resulted in the arrest of Mr. Abdul Wahab, former Chief Executive of Buffer Stock, his wife Faiza Seydou Wuni, and then James Atieku, the Buffer Stock Manager for the Northern Sector, who was based in Tamale. The operation also led to the arrest of Emmanuel Atta, Head of Corporate Affairs of NAFCO. The arrest followed initial intelligence and assessment by EOCO, who suggested that while serving as CEO of Buffer Stock between 2017 and 2024, Mr. Abdul Wahab colluded with his wife, Faiza Seydou Wuni, Richard Sam, Head of Finance, Bismarck Ousu Boache, Finance Department, and Emmanuel Atta, Corporate Affairs Manager, and others to create an elaborate criminal enterprise that was used to steal and launder public funds from the Buffer Stock Company. Within the period between 2017 and 2024, Mr. Abdul Wahab, in concert with Richard Sam Asante and Bismarck Ousu Boache, orchestrated the transfer of 78,269,084 Ghana cedis and 4 pesos from the bank accounts of Buffer Stock Company to a private company linked to Hanan Abdul Wahab, his wife, and staff of Buffer Stock at Republic Bank and EcoBank. Evidence shows that the funds were instantly retransferred to companies owned by Abdul Wahab himself, and companies and entities owned and associated with him and his wife. The prosecutions have commenced in the SkyTrain and National Service scandals. In the case of the latter, we have filed charges against the former Chief Executive, Executive Director, Osea Sibe Nchwe, and his deputy, Gifty Owari. Charges are being prepared against the rest of the public officers and the so-called marketplace vendors. In all, we intend to file about 10 cases in the NSA scandal and will use some of the public officers and vendors as prosecution witnesses. Now, this is a strategy that is working very well for us, and we intend to continue to use that strategy. In a situation where there is a small criminal among big criminals, and the small criminal knows a lot, it is better as a matter of prosecutorial strategy to use a small criminal to get the information in order to be able to succeed, and that is what I'm doing. Also, I wish to announce that the Auditor General has conducted a forensic audit into the NSA, the National Service Scandal, and the total amount of money stolen or illegally spent now stands at 2.2 billion, and not the 548 million that was uncovered by my investigators as at June 2025. And then, ladies and gentlemen, I have here a copy of the Auditor General's report. Again, painstaking investigation is very important in criminal matters. And so, based upon what the Auditor General has done, and this is a forensic audit, okay? Forensic audit means that they've gone beyond what ordinary, auditing would have done. And so, we are going to, based upon this, in some cases, change the charge, amend our charge sheets in order to bring fresh charges. Investigations are still ongoing in respect of the following matters: All African Games, mathematical sets, Bank of Ghana new building, stadia renovation, and National Cathedral. In the case of the National Cathedral, we have actually requested that the Auditor General should conduct another forensic audit, and he's being held by one of the big 4 accounting companies to be able to do this.
Education, the workforce there, many of our qualified teachers complain that the sector has not been able to place them, or even those who were placed have not been paid. The unresolved service conditions has also led to labor unrest. Newly posted teachers have gone 8 months plus without salaries. We have also not seen any infrastructure improvement, any facelift. Government has not, since January, they brought a budget. The sweetness of the pudding is in the eating. From day one, we expect them to come prepared. We have not seen any effort in terms of data regarding infrastructure, facelifts, dormitory, classroom construction, and the GET fund. There is no document before Parliament telling us what GET fund is doing. So far, nothing. If there is any such thing, we challenge them. We are ready.
There was nothing administratively in error. I dare say, for the records, you force LGBT on the throat of the Akufo-Addo government. Today, you don't want LGBT. You would want it. Mube pepa. Mube pepa, papa, papa, papa. You use it to win election. Now, when your stakeholders, the international community, is warning you, you want to run away. Run to where? You now see governance. You are in the kitchen, you see the heat. I was there. We will plead with you. Let's manage this situation. You say no. Remember that hot afternoon? Agboja, as a chief whip. You remember that hot afternoon? When you suffocated me with third reading. You are laughing. Mr. Speaker, this bill.
What is the meaning of what you said?
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. Sometimes when I look at majority leader, it's not easy. It's not easy. Mr. Speaker, what I'm trying to tell them is that, you see, when they were in opposition, they forced this bill on us. Even when it was in court, they say the bill must be signed into law. We heard President Mahama, His Excellency. He said, oh, the bill, he's seen it, but he's referring it to the Attorney General. That was January. And then there would be, they will look at the very clauses, the aspect of criminalizing it and bringing a conviction and sentencing where the person must suffer a jail term. The very thing that you wanted it, he said, oh, they have to look at it.
Asking NDC government, where is the Human Sexual Rights Bill, which had gone through all the processes and approved? Today, the majority leader is telling us that Speaker is not aware. The clerk is not aware. And the first deputy speaker is saying he's not aware. But he chaired the committee that approved this bill as private members' bill. It was the Speaker who approved this same bill and director for gazetting. It was the clerk who wrote the letter accompanying the gazetting. So why is everybody saying they are not aware? Suddenly, this goes clearly to indicate that there seems to be a clear attempt by NDC government to run away from this bill. And we're asking the question, why are they running away from this bill? A bill that they thought was important yesterday must be important today. Even more so, recent developments have heightened the discomfort of Ghanaians. At the time when we began this bill in 2021, we never had two South African gay couples coming to Independence Square to openly kiss and declare themselves gay couple and declaring independence and freedom, calling out every practitioner of LGBT to show up. We did not see that. But under President Mahama, that has occurred. So we are demanding that that bill must be reintroduced today. An addendum must be raised for it to be brought back. We will not allow NDC government to run away from the bill. It's a bill that is important to all of Ghanaians. We all know the propaganda they put up to this bill, the lies they peddled. But we passed it when we were in government. Why are they running away from passing the bill? We are demanding that the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill be passed now. Be passed now. And not deferred to.
Misrepresenting facts in a way just to portray what serves our political interests. I remember during the electioneering campaign in the US, I follow their politics quite a lot. I'm always watching them on CNN. There was so much misrepresentation of what was happening, to a point where CNN had to employ somebody to do a fact check. And I noticed that either Joy FM or City FM, or Joy FM also adopted that strategy. So I urge you, given the level of dishonesty and misrepresentation that sometimes I see in our politics, I expect you not just to convey what has been said, but also to build your own capacity to do fact checking, so that when you are conveying, you can also correct the facts. That is what I hope to see during this meeting of Parliament. As a democracy, we must keep improving on our performance. As the fourth arm of government, the media must also improve its performance. What is its main task? Its main task is to convey accurate information to the populace. And so doing fact-checking is so critical. So when the minority leader speaks, by the time he finishes, when you are reporting, you should be correcting the inaccuracies in what he has said. Okay? So for instance, when he says that no policy document has come to Parliament, you are supposed to report that that is not accurate, because everything that he said was captured in the economic policy document that the finance minister presented to Parliament. And on the basis of the economic policy document and the various sectoral policies that they were introducing, he then presented an estimate of how much money is needed to implement those policies. And he had, at that time, 88 members in the chamber, and they debated the economic policy document sector by sector. Then they are members of the various committees, and all those committees took the sector by sector policy documents, analyzed them at committee retreats, invited all the agencies, and the agencies appeared before them and explained each and every one of those policy measures. A lot of these policy measures were already captured in our national campaign manifesto, if you recall, info analytics that you have started here, did he come to brief you in Parliament? The man didn't come to brief you in Parliament. But you've gone to dig it out, you've gotten that information, and you are here relying heavily on that information. So how come that you don't want to rely on the information of all the media houses who covered Ejumawura, who covered all these other, programs, the Big Push, the Coders program, the apprenticeship training program, all these were launched. They were covered extensively by media houses. They were reported. So if you can sift through media reports to see the reports of Info Analytics, sift through the same media reports, and you'll find all the reports on all these programs that were launched. On Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill, my recollection is that it was passed by Parliament already. That's my recollection, that we passed this already as Parliament. We passed it, and the issue was giving it a presidential assent. So that is where it should be taken up. I don't see why anybody should bring us a bill that we have passed already. I think the step is to push for it to be given the assent. Yesterday I saw it on the order paper, and then I was asking myself, but who brought this? And really, a bill that we have passed already, you haven't convinced me that, there's a need for us to work on a bill that we have already passed. So in all sincerity, and I like to be very, very frank and open, I did ask the speaker, I said, Mr. Speaker, but this bill was passed, and why is it on our order paper again? And then the Speaker himself also expressed surprise finding it on the order paper. And I recall we invited the clerk. The Speaker invited the clerk in my presence and asked the clerks, how did this bill find its way advertised on the order paper, because he too didn't know how it got on the order paper. I mean, I like to be very, very transparent. If the clerk, I wish he were here, I would have said in his presence. Yesterday, this thing happened. I saw it, I was like, this bill, what is it doing here? We passed it already. Why are we being invited to consider it again? And so that is so the only one that indeed yesterday Speaker and I agreed should attract our attention is the one brought by Honorable Patricia Ajay. She is here. That is the property rights of spouses.
And then sometimes it's a speaker leaders. When I see leaders in front shouting, that's not for leaders to do. If you are a good leader, you must have those who will do that for you. I saw them a while talk about LGBTQ and the Honorable Habib. Interesting times in Ghana. You were in Ghana. Parliament passed the law. Nana Addo Dankwa was in breach of the constitution. You didn't have the voice. He didn't read Article 106.78. Read it. He was in breach. If Parliament gives a bill to the president and he can assent or not assent, the constitution provides what he should do. Did you do that? Then you allow it to lapse. Then today we are discussing the same matter. I heard the leader talk about there was no administrative error, but there was a constitutional error. The constitution is elaborate. What do you do? It's not to say that President Akufo-Addo can't disagree with Parliament, but if he disagrees, convey it back to Parliament that I disagree with you and this is my reasoning. I will not do it because of this reason. We should pass it. Or I simply would have ended by saying, why didn't you pass it? By it to be passed. Thank you.
I'm going to pick up this one. Arrest them. Commander, are you National Security for
Ebi abuba fere bia yo ganani me yo de hye bibi a esa bedema ho de bua bisika bua madaje edi beba ade bua na emom efi ne ko me nye kede ni bio ni ba mi
Government is broke, government is broke. But people are spending billions to go inside the government that is broke. Have you ever seen a minister who resigned because government is broke before? Government has no money. Have you ever seen a governor who said, ladies and gentlemen, when I was elected, I thought the government had money. Now I discover government has no money, I resign. Have you ever seen it? Government has no money, but they are bringing money out at election time. Where is that money coming from? So they are lying. What is happening is that there are two types of wicked people in government. Type 1, they eat current money. Any money they find in government, they will eat it. They are wicked about that one. There is type 2. Type 2, they eat current money and future money. They will say, my term will end next year. When I leave, how will I eat money? Let me borrow money now and borrow money of the future and eat it now.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's a beautiful Thursday morning, isn't it? Today is the 23rd of October, 2025. Welcome to the show. This is Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. The show is also live on 94.1 FM. We would say big thanks to the Most High God for keeping us alive and kicking, and also giving us that rare privilege of returning here to join the nation's conversation on the big issues that are making the rounds in our dear country, Ghana. And let me also say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. We thanks to be to Allah. My name is Awudu Moro, and I'm always happy to come here to trigger or to broach topics that you would want to hear, because topics that really matter to you. I'll start off with the newspaper headlines, and today is there about the Daily Graphic. As I always do, the Daily Graphic this morning is reporting that the AG unveils 78.2 million cedis buffer stock scandal. There's former CEO, wife, accomplices face 25 charges. National service deal balloons to 2.2 billion cedis. Goma Central launches a special economic zone to drive industrial growth. Professor Okwe proposes service contract approach to manage natural resources. President Mahama launches infrastructure plan to guide big push. The Business and Financial Times. Informal cross-border trade hits 7.4 billion cedis in Q4 2024. A market braces for higher rates as long-end yields top 16%. The GCB Bank extends strong performance through Q3, sustaining robust revenue and profit growth. And as Agribusiness Chamber urged government to walk the talk on tax waiver promise. The Ghanaian Times. Reviving Ghana Airways, President hints of public-private partnership. Informal cross-border trade hit 7.4 billion cedis in Q4 2024, according to GSS. Be patient, AG pleads with Ghanaians over recovery of loot and prosecutions. Long-term inclusive national development plan unveiled. Former NSA deputy director granted bail in 38 million cedis case. The Daily Guide. Gold Board opens fabrication and refinery license application. And there's NSA scandal. Giftowa Mensa gets 10 million cedis bail. There's buffer stock 78 million cedis theft. And there's AG freezes assets of former CEO. You will pass anti-LGBTQ plus bill, minority tells government. And there's 2 robbers killed in a police Ghana battle. The Insight. SMG calls for action against environmental vandalism by capitalist elites, rejects imperialism and neoliberalism. There's China condemns U.S. airstrikes in the Caribbean and backs Venezuelan sovereignty. And there's also Gold Board opens applications for jewelry and refinery licenses. There's imperialism cannot make us abandon the path of socialism, reaffirms Cuban foreign minister. China condemns U.S. airstrikes in the Caribbean, backs Venezuelan sovereignty. I think I've looked at this already. Sorry about that. There's African scholars meet in Singapore for groundbreaking international education conference. Chiefs, residents in Ayensuano district threaten violence over alleged land seizure by estate developer. The New Republic. The New Republic. And here, let me say good morning to you. David Tamaklo is the managing editor of the New Republic. My brother, how are you? Anyway, so it says, Ghost Payroll Shocker. NSA bleeds GH 2.2 billion cedis in phantom salaries. There's Oral uncovers billions in bloats. MPP flagship projects drenched in corruption. 2028 nightmare looms. Polls show MPP flag bearers losing grip on loyal voters. Banks, shell firms, and billions. How Abdul Wahab's network bled the buffer stock dry. There's a Gold Board cracks whip. Licensed jewelers, fabricators, and refiners face deadline or jail. Yoko unmasked looting and power. The Metro Lens. Surviving Law School, top tips from Joyce Angela Siedu Esquire. That's on page 12. The Kaswa MP hands over medical equipment to Newmarket Health Center. Gold Board opens applications for jewelry and fabrication refinery license. AG reveals multi-million-dollar properties of ex-Nafacor boss. And there's also there's a stakeholder conference which is also being published here. The Daily Post. Gold Board announces the opening of applications for jewelry and fabrication licenses. President Mahama unveils new infrastructure vision for Ghana's growth through 2057. We must not repeat mistakes of MPP that gave them 38% in election 2024, Said Sinari warns government appointees. And as Attorney General to charge Hanan Abdul Wahab and wife over 78 million cedis buffer stock theft. National Service scandal, now 2.2 billion cedis, Attorney General. All right, so that's it for the front pages of the newspapers that we have today. Please stay with us, don't go anywhere. Keep watching Good Morning Ghana.
Sometimes the unexpected happens and the hero falls down in his own story. But he needs not stay down for long. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance is your trusted health partner. Whether an individual building a business, with Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern. For the best health insurance solutions for corporate institutions, groups and associations, families and individuals, choose Cosmopolitan Health Insurance from our over 700 accredited health service providers nationwide. Call us on 0302 540 668 or 0501 678 547 for all your health insurance solutions. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern.
Chia winning Nara, me ding edge baby dapa, me dear strong crown ebremo. Now that what you animal would be on the edge, Japana me de bremo. And no any summer spices in here, and we will not be real. Various flavors, Ubenya a yako, Ubenya Nemchi, you do good jollof woman and we get dead. Ubenya you do quam, you do for you, hot knuckle pibito. Na Emma with Gianni, and yet dead. When you mean ya, You can go to your for Eka.
Download your communication to you all enjoy Oduba. That's Samu spices. One in the SCN, no time. Samu spices in a Sabi, Daddy so say. Samu spices, Moon Samu.
Samu spices, Yama chicken.
Samu spices.
Sanaka in Kitswa. Measure 10 grams. Your chicken, spaghetti, garlic and ginger, stew, and jollof, and the flavors of Fodobebre.
Samu spices. Yes, Saka.
I'm a brand manager. Of course, I accept only quality and affordable printed souvenirs for my promotional campaigns.
I'm the head of academic affairs of a very important institution in Ghana. Of course, we only deal with quality, reliable printing companies for our institution's printing materials. I'm talking about appointed time printing.
Appointed Time Printings. We take pride in our extensive print scope that transform your ideas into captivating visual masterpieces. We delve into the core objectives and vision of each print project. Precision printing is at the heart of our printing process as we meet your tight deadlines. Our rigorous inspection, color verification, and overall printing excellence are assured. 20 years of printing excellence. It's always a pleasure working with you to create a vibrant, dazzling printing experience that gives you a masterpiece. Appointed Time Printing, your world of quality and affordable printing.
Hello, my friends. My name is Calkit Toothpaste.
Wow.
I was made to be gentle on your gum but protected. I will protect your teeth from cavity, make your teeth whiter, stronger, keep your mouth fresh all day. And best of all, I'm strawberry flavored. So put on a smile and try me.
That's amazing.
Just try me. That's my job.
If you say so, jump on my brush. Makes your teeth stronger, chicky whiter, chicky stronger. Yay! You did it!
I'm glad you like your new toothpaste. Don't forget to brush both day and night.
Calkits, happy smile.
In life, choice is good, but choice plus safety is way better. Your safety and comfort is paramount. Under the cylinder recirculation model, you can buy LPG in a safe environment. All cylinders are inspected and maintained to the best safety standards, so your safety is assured. Just take your empty cylinder to the nearest exchange point and swap it for a filled cylinder. Different cylinder sizes will be available to meet your pocket size. Imagine cooking in a smoke-free environment. This will improve the health and well-being of you and your family. Choose LPG in a safer model of distribution. Cylinder recirculation model. Securing your safety. Creating more jobs. A message from the National Petroleum Authority under the patronage of the Ministry of Energy.
Oh, Jose, and I made the SMS. Canini Pano, Nasana, Mishiana, what me. A drain I didn't quano. Kingdom Garlic Bitters. No, more benefit. Me benefit wine. Also, got told dear.
Abrewa, the smile, Abrente, Mishuve. One antique crown our bread. No Kingdom Garlic Bitters, and any capsules. Nanya, what ya brebia.
Kingdom Garlic Bitters, and the capsules.
Assembly,
a devil when Amawani Ajise. Send your name, your wife, company one personal. Kingdom Ginseng Power Capsules, and tea. Say, see, and pass why deck.
Kingdom Ginseng Power Capsules. A many genius from Debefi, Abrebia. Obebia o de poor hauno. Edro Bakupa Wihiane Tremendous Capsules. Tremendous Capsules, SSC Uma Obesima. Edno you when you be a ton Robia. Kingdom Heba, no challenger.
Hello, my name is Angela, the office manager at the Medics Clinic. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and as part of the celebration, Metro TV, Original TV, and Original FM, in partnership with the Medics Clinic, will celebrate the day with a free breast cancer and general health screening exercise. I am therefore inviting you to join us at the AMA Gardens in Accra Central, near Tema Station at 10 a.m. prompt. Come and have your breast checked as you enjoy free general health screening and good music. Let's give hope to breast cancer patients. Get your pink on. Let's join the fight.
Yo, nananum, mechiamunyina, Regional Security Council, Security Chiefs, and your MPs, your ministers, and you biara, yeshia muhei. Say, and me imagine say me ba on a working visit to Western Region. Na me ka say me ba no. Na inspection tour. If you say mokaya abra ye election. Ye campaign no. Na ade ba ko a ha Ghana for and say aban sesa enjuma aban dada no eye no na aban foforo abetwa egu na ye jana sa na eche se eye oman foto ene komu nso na asai if you say aban bia ba opeso ohye ono ankasa ne de so na eche se enumunyam no emra ne ho. As the Minister for Roads said, this is a major program to expand the infrastructure of our country. The World Bank, in one of their reports, said that Ghana has a deficit of $1.5 billion every year in the infrastructure space. And so we decided that we must, over a 5-year period, catch up with that deficit and improve the infrastructure so that we can increase productivity and also use it to expand our economy. And so that is how the Big Push was born. And the Big Push is a $2 billion a year investment over 5 years. And so we're going to spend $10 billion on infrastructure alone, and that includes roads, health sector, education sector, sports and recreation, agriculture and agri-tech, digital space, and the key sectors of the economy. But we started the Big Push this year, and the Minister of Finance allocated 13 billion cedis for the Big Push. And we realized that everywhere we had gone during the campaign, the major complaint of every region, every traditional authority, was the poor nature of our roads. Existing roads that were fairly in good shape over the years had not been maintained, not even pothole patching, and so the roads had deteriorated beyond proper use. And so it meant that we had to allocate a big portion of the budget for the Big Push to the road sector. And that's how come we kick-started it with the Accra-Aflawo Road dualization. Leave him, let him come in. Okay.
You're still watching Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. Yes, I keep saying the show is live on 94.1 FM. So please tell a friend to tell a friend that if they can't watch us on TV, at least they can listen to us on radio. It's 94.1 FM. It's a radio dial. It doesn't have a name, but what I can tell you that is crystal clear. So that's a piece of good news for those of you who have complained to us a few times that they struggle to monitor the show because they can't sit behind their TV after a certain period of time or a point in time. So yes, now radio is on 94.1 FM. So please tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. So my guests are seated and we'll kickstart our conversation based on the newspaper publications as you see them. And so one is an MP, one is not. And I don't know whether the other person would someday contest to be an MP. I don't know. Maybe I may have to ask him that. But he's, for now, the Director of Communications for the biggest opposition party in this country. I'm talking about the New Patriotic Party. I'm talking about the man Richard Ahiagbah. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Morning, Mo.
Good to see you.
Same here.
It's been a while.
Yes.
Like we say in the United States, it's been a minute.
Yes, it's been a minute.
Yeah. I hope everybody's fine. Family, yourself.
Not too bad. Everybody's holding. Everybody's holding. You look okay too, so I'm sure you're fine.
Well, I mean, if you're my friend, I don't have any option, do I?
Well, you have to do better, especially with the NDC government bamboozling us with all their talks, no action. At least we have to keep our heads above water.
Richard, do you like to peek ahead of time?
Oh, no. I mean, it's...
As Kufuor said.
No. But we're just starting. So.
Okay.
And this conversation will come along. Okay. Anyway, introduce my brother because I need to congratulate him once after he introduced him. I haven't seen him since his appointment and the beginning of the year.
Alassa is more like a brother to me.
Oh, really?
We go way back.
Good.
He's been a fantastic friend. Trust me. Yes. So he's introduced him for me. So, what else do I have to say? He's a Deputy Minister for Roads and Highways and MP for the good people of Tamale North. So he's Al-Hassan Suhini, the Honorable Member of Parliament for the good people of Tamale North. Oftentimes you say Honorable Al-Hassan Suhini, it's so wrong. Let's stop that. He's the Honorable Member of Parliament for the good people of Tamale North. Good morning, my brother. How are you?
I'm terrific, bro. Good morning. Hope you're well.
Small. Like we say, we do inside.
That a Supreme Court judge once said that the honorable should only be used within the chamber of Parliament.
Yeah.
And
so this one is appropriate.
Well,
outside the chamber.
But yes, you are correct with the designation is honorable member of Parliament for Tamale North. I don't think the honorable is really a title that one needs to, prefix with his name. But I see that many of us do that. But well, I think it's about individual differences.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But let me say good morning to you. Good morning to our viewers, and especially the very good people of the Tamale North constituency, and my brother Richard Ahiagbah. It's been a long time. His job is not an easy one. I watched him during the elections and immediately after the elections. And I think that he's finally coming to the reality of what happened, the latter part of last year. And he's beginning to settle in nicely in opposition.
The nice
I wish him well.
The nice part.
Aren't you? Looks like you are.
Richard is just warming up. You know how he does it. Like the way the planes take off. No, they taxi and then they take off. That's how he operates. He starts slowly, and then when he takes off, it's a different matter. It's a different matter. But as I always do, in line with the tradition of this program, since the days of Randy Abbey, when MPs come here, I would always ask them how are the constituents, has the constituency, is there anything you think that viewers would want to be updated on?
Well, I think that generally the constituency is fine. I was there last weekend. It is an education, how do I call it, month, back to school month. Going to school month, and you know what that means, especially for members of Parliament. You have those who are going to tertiary institutions, and you also have those who are going to the secondary senior high schools. And so the problems related to those events come to your doorsteps as Member of Parliament. There are those who want assistance with their fees. There are those who want assistance with their awards placements. There are those who want admissions in general. And so those are some of the major concerns that one had to deal with when I was in the constituency last weekend. But generally, people are also expectant of jobs, especially the youth of our various constituencies. The government is doing everything possible to provide opportunities, and to the best of our ability, we are, showing the way, giving directions, and encouraging people to take up responsibilities as and when they come up. It's been, we have a huge backlog of people who are unemployed, and the opportunities, especially in public sector, is that limited. And that is why it is this government's intention to provide the necessary environment for businesses to do well. And so when you hear about the exchange rate improving, when you see that our tariffs in terms of electricity, fuel, are being dealt with in the manner that the energy minister, the energetic and brilliant energy minister is dealing with it. It's all because the expectation is that these will impact on businesses to expand and to provide opportunities for our team in youth. And you have the 24-hour economy team that is also very much alive and working with institutions, both public and private, to create the environment necessary for the 24-hour economy to also take off, especially where some of the institutions can begin that immediately, which will throw up more jobs for the people. But yes, in the constituency, these are some of the problems that you are likely to be confronted with, the issues of unemployment. Then we have a problem in the northern region, especially in Tamale, where the electricity company of Ghana, in this case NEDCO, is embarking on an exercise that is not very popular, in the community. It has to do with illegal connections of electricity, theft of electricity, and the attempt of the institution NEDCO to streamline and improve the power situation in the area by way of dealing with those involved in this theft. But the modus operandi has been criticized roundly by many members of our community. They think that it is insensitive, the times that they do it, the manner that they do it need to be reviewed. And so those are some of the issues that are also lacking, and members of parliament are confronted with every now and then. We also have issues of water. Fortunately for us, we are still in the latter part of the rainy season in the north, and so it is not a huge challenge, but I know it's going to get serious very soon, especially as we get into the dry season. So I do know, however, that the government is very, very committed to the Tamale water project, the Damango treatment plant that the president is very committed to bring on board, the Yendi water project that he's committed. I know that some discussions have taken place, and very soon, works will begin. The process of procuring works will begin, and I'm confident that in the next 2 years or so, we should say goodbye to the water problems in the northern region. So by and large, I would say the constituency is fine, except some of these challenges that we continue to deal with.
Yeah. So in your case, I mean, as an MP, you have a family to take care of. You also have a constituency to take care of. That's also your family. And then you have a ministry to run. I mean, albeit in your capacity as a deputy minister.
Yeah.
I found out just recently in the course of this week when the speaker spoke, when he was addressing Parliament, when Parliament, opened. And apparently, you MPs, you don't go on annual leaves. And that even when you go on recess, you still work as MPs. I was surprised. When the Labour Act is clear, you're entitled to it. And how come you, when I say you MPs, have never really pushed for that? Why?
It's a difficult thing. I mean, you cannot appreciate it until you are in it. And unfortunately, MPs are, I will say, one of the most misunderstood politicians in our, political space. And because of that misunderstanding that people have of the role of a member of parliament, it even becomes dangerous to try to educate people about, your responsibilities and your challenges. And so you find many members of parliament just bottling it in and dealing with what they can deal with. And in the process, develop lifestyle diseases, I must say. Lifestyle diseases. And that's why, the terminal rates of members of parliament, especially when they leave the service, tend to be very high. I mean, every now and then we have statements being read, tributes being read on the floor, just to announce the passing of former members of parliament. Just yesterday, I mean, one was read, the former member of parliament for Ashama, Agbeshi, Honorable Agbeshi. Oh, yes. The current member of parliament, read the tribute, on the floor yesterday. And but it is because of that misunderstanding and the fear of being further misunderstood that sometimes we don't even discuss some of the things that we think should be extended to make the work easier. Because you see, some of the things that people are entitled to, when members of parliament request for it, it becomes another matter. I'll give you an example. The issue of the leave that you just spoke about. I mean, I followed the discussion on social media, Twitter, and it wasn't a popular thing. I mean, many people didn't even see why members of parliament should be concerned about going on leave and all that. The issue, meanwhile, every other public servant is entitled to leave. The issue of, vehicles, for example, for use, for the work that you do for the state. I mean, it's been a topical issue like forever, because any other person in a management role in the public sector is entitled to an office vehicle of a sort, but not members of parliament. In fact, members of parliament are supposed to buy it, and even when they are given a loan to buy it, it becomes, an issue. But I have said in the past that perhaps the way to deal with the issue of the loan is for the state to buy the vehicles. But you see, if you look at it critically, it's actually more expensive for the state. And so it is actually in the interest of the state makes a saving when they advance the loan to the MP to purchase the vehicle and pay back. Right. The state doesn't, for example, have to pay for the vehicle cost because it will get the MP to pay back. The state doesn't have to maintain the vehicle as in the case of the judiciary and other, public servants. The state doesn't have to service the vehicle regularly, give it fuel, provide it with a driver and pay the driver monthly. The state doesn't, incur those costs at all once the loan is advanced to the member of parliament to purchase this vehicle. But look at how, that issue has become very controversial every time it comes up. So it becomes very difficult for members of parliament to talk about their conditions of service. And often you will hear people say, well, if it is that difficult, then why are you in it? Just quit. And I believe that I am guilty of having said that before when I was also on radio. But like I said in the beginning, if you are not in it, it becomes very difficult for you, to understand. I have told people that sometimes it is like holding the lion's tail. I mean, it's the most uncomfortable position to be, but it is the safest place to be to. So you hold on to the tail, and even though you are uncomfortable, you ought to keep holding on, because that's the only way, you can survive. So Speaker Bagbin is right. There's a need for members of parliament perhaps to begin to consider leave, because the example he gave is true. The fact that families are destroyed is real. I mean, before I joined politics, I used to hear one of our, distinguished members of parliament, now Minister of Education, Honorable Haruna Idrisu, my senior brother, he used to say that, I mean, it's like you venture into this and everything about you is now owned by the public. Your time is for the public. Your resources is for the public. Your space is for the public. Even your family, some people feel that, they ought to also leave. They didn't bargain for it, but they also have to live a certain way just so that it does not reflect negatively on you. But in the process, you don't have time for them. You lose them. And so Bagbin was right that many families are destroyed as a result of the fact that members of parliament don't usually get time to pay attention to the most important part of one's life, and that is family. Sometimes you just have to be lucky. You just have to pray to be lucky to have a partner who understands. Otherwise, it is not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy at all. I mean, raising children, you are hardly present for their important days and important events. It's a lot of juggling. But yes, somebody has to do it, and if God has chosen us to do it at this point, we can only say Alhamdulillah, and we pray for the grace to continue to do it.
Richard, I don't know whether I can crave your indulgence. Under normal circumstances, as Sweeney has spoken for about 10, 12 minutes or so, I should do same with you. But I'm just going to implore you to give me another 5 minutes, because I want him to bring us up to speed on infrastructure issues, more specifically about roads, And, as our public servant, we should be able to get some updates from him. And then when he's done, of course, you can always come and win, because the minorities actually also held a news conference, must have been yesterday or so, where they are still accusing government of not spending on infrastructure, and that our roads are getting bad and poorer and so on and so forth. So I'm sure that you would have your take on that. So Alassane, first let's start with what I call my pet project. The Pokwase in Sawam Amasaman Road, and I believe so. Pokwase, Ofanko, Amasaman, and then in Sawam Road. Where are we?
Moro, I think that people who ply that road have reported that it's as if some magic is happening on that road. I mean, kudos to the contractor, Maripoma. He has lived up to expectation, especially since His Excellency President Mahama directed that his indebtedness be made good. And since the finance minister advance monies to him, that section of the road has seen tremendous, improvement. And those who ply the road will attest to this. It is our expectation that he will continue with the speed and the quality of work that he's noted for. And the job will be handed over in the early part of next year. That is the expectation. His Excellency President Mahama is not just building roads. I mean, yes, there are roads, but the intention of these roads, the intention behind the construction of these roads is more important. It is to open up our country to trade, is to open up our country to tourism, is to open up our country, to all the benefits that you can get from the construction of roads. The Chinese will tell you that if you want to get rich, you should first build roads. And that is why His Excellency the President has prioritized, the road sector in this first year of his second term. And the expectation is that he will do so again in the second year, at least in the second year of his second term. And the reason is what I have told you. It is to make this country rich. And we all know, if for nothing at all, how the value of our properties, increase when the road network around the properties get improved. That is basic, economics, and that should tell you the importance of roads. I saw a very interesting, document, which was done around 1969. And it was a project, it was about a project called the Triangle. It was pushed or prepared by the World Bank and the IMF. And they were seeking to get the government at the time to do the Kumasi-Takoradi Road, Accra-Takoradi Road, and then Accra-Kumasi Road. And the literature, that supported such a project was really rich, and the intentions, behind the construction of such a project, were lofty. And it is interesting that in 2025, since 1969, you have a president who is beginning to prioritize these projects that were mentioned to be done in 1969. And I cannot wait for us to begin to benefit from, the completion of these projects. So only 2 days ago, he cut short for the construction of the, Cape Coast Takoradi 73 kilometers dualization project. This is a project that many people, not only Westerners, have complained about and have looked forward to it being done and done well. And finally, attention is being given to it, and the expectation is that within 2 years, the dualization will be done. It will come with 9 interchanges, 10 bridges, and about 15, foot bridges. There will also be a 20-kilometer, inner city or service roads that will be done alongside this project. So communities, some communities along that stretch, the 73-kilometer stretch, will benefit from this 20 kilometers of service roads that will be done. So you have the project divided into 3 lots. You have the Cape Coast to Kisii lot, you have the Kisii to Daboase lot, and you have the Daboase to the Takoradi Airport runabout. I mean, once this is done, travel time is going to be cut down. Goods and services will be transported faster, and this road is also going to come with way bridges, because His Excellency the President took his time during the sword cutting ceremony to highlight the need for us to protect these investments that are being made in the road sector by way of checking the loads that we allow on these roads. Because you see, when a road is done, a lot of science goes into designing a road project, and that informs, us as to the lifespan of the road. But when the utilization is abused, then the lifespan of the road is also reduced. So, for example, if it is estimated that a certain, weight will be plying the road, and then that increases astronomically and is not managed, then the lifespan of the road is reduced. If it was supposed to serve us for 10 years with maintenance, it begins to serve us for just maybe 5 or 6 years. And that will mean that our investment would have gone to waste as a country, because then when it starts deteriorating, we need to begin to get more money to fix the road again. So this particular project is going to come with axle stations, and my minister has prioritized the retooling and resetting of that axle management regime that we came to meet, so that we can improve the situation. His Excellency the President hinted at the introduction of even a new law once Parliament has resumed to make the regime more stringent, and punishment regime especially more stringent, so that people will not abuse these investments that we are making in the road sector. And His Excellency the President has also made it possible for contractors to be liquidified, if I can use that word, to be paid. I mean, when we came into office, we inherited about 40 billion Ghana cedis. Moro, 40 billion Ghana cedis. And the sad part of the story is that these 40 billion Ghana cedis are not, it's not even made up of actual roads that have been constructed on the ground. Most of the time, the debt is as a result of delayed payments and interest on delayed payments. And so you have a road that may be costing you, say, 10 million Ghana cedis, which because of delayed payment and other reasons become bloated to about 25 million Ghana cedis. So you are paying twice for the same stretch of road, which may not have even been completed. And as a result of the contractor not being paid, he or she may abandon site and the project begins to deteriorate again. So you spend that much and you don't even have value for it. So His Excellency the President inherited this situation, but has decided yet to prioritize the road sector and to make available, as we speak, Moro, 5 billion Ghana cedis for the contractors that are owed to be paid. As we speak, many of them have started receiving payment from this over 5 billion Ghana cedis that has been made available. And more, what is significant is that this is the single largest, if you like, payment that any government has ever made in the history of this country to contractors at a go. It is the single largest payment that any government has ever made to contractors at a go. And it tells you the determination of His Excellency the President to improve that sector. And again, Moro, another significant thing is that this has happened without the government borrowing from anywhere. No borrowing. It is not as a result of a loan. It is not as a result of any borrowing. It is just as a result of prudent management of the economy, prudent utilization of the taxes that you and I have been paying. And the finance minister has made this over 5 billion Ghana cedis available, and contractors are being paid. And the expectation is that many of these contractors who abandon very critical road projects in the past as a result of non-payment will return to site to complete these projects. And that will complement the projects that His Excellency is cutting short for under the big push as well. And at the end of about 2 years, our expectation is that the road network of this country would have significantly improved to help in the transportation of goods and services, in the transportation of people, which eventually will also impact the economy in general.
So if you're a contractor watching Good Morning Ghana today and the money has hit your account, please send us a message. You see, you send us messages every morning to complain that you've not been paid.
Moro.
When I meet you at the mosque, you complain. When I run into you somewhere, you complain because they say, I'm the host of Good Morning Ghana, and so I should be able to tell the government to pay you. Okay? Now that you have been paid, as the government tells us, please send us a message and acknowledge receipt of the payment. Nobody's going to call you for anything. I'm not going to ask you to pay me anything. I'm not. It's not my.
Sikam Pedede.
Sikam Pedede. Is it l'argent et le puits?
The contractors will tell you Sikam Pedede.
You know, we've just put up the Google map of the Cape Coast Takoradi Road for persons who are very good at reading these maps to understand or appreciate the enormity and the gravity of the size of the
it's going to be dualized.
It's going to be dualized. This is massive. This is massive. Yeah. You know, how about the Kumasi Accra one? The Accra Kumasi one.
It's also on course. It's also on course, and His Excellency is also very committed to a new alignment, and discussions are ongoing to see how that will also be done.
You know this big brother of ours who back in the day at City FM used to be a regular visitor from the UK. I'm not sure the name sounds familiar. It's Reverend Joe Slati.
Oh, yes, very well.
So he's watching us from the UK, and he says I should, commend you for a good job done. And he says I should ask you if when the beach road from Kajano to La Palm Beach complete, as if you have the information, you'll be more than happy to give him some update. It says I should also ask you if you've ever used the Lashibi underpass to the J. Kojo market, and that I'm sure that there are issues there too. So if you have some updates on that, that's fine. But you can check on that whilst I get Richard to.
Well, the Lashibi I know is under construction. It's going to be done alongside the motorway. Some work I know is being done on it as the motorway is being redone. So I do know that work on that will soon start, if it hasn't started, because I haven't used that road in a while, but I do know that some advanced discussions have taken place with regard to that road, the underpass. But the beach road, it's part of the projects that were affected by the DDEP. So it was funded by the Sino-Hydro arrangement. Unfortunately, because of the DDEP, funds for the projects were suspended, and it is the reason why it has stalled. But I know that the finance minister has been to China. Some discussions have taken place, and the expectation is that the funds will start, coming when one or two things are done. I'm very confident that the finance minister is working hard at it, and once we conclude certain discussions at certain levels, the funds will begin to come in for the contractors to finish that project. So it is affected. It is affected. My minister, Honorable Kwame Agbodza, my boss, was, even considering the possibility of us taking it on board and perhaps funding it with our own resources as a country.
As in GOG?
As in GOG, yes. So that consideration is also on the table. So if we find out that the stalemate is dragging and the resolution is not providing this, the resolution is taking time.
That's the beach road.
Yes, if we find out that the resolution is dragging, we may take it on board as a GOG project to complete it, because I know that my boss is very, very worried about the nature of that.
In terms of how much is left?
No, I don't have the figures.
That's fine.
I don't have the figures.
That's fine. All right, so Richard, I beg you, let me do this. Take a little breather, so then when I come back, you have all the time to talk about it. Because you, as I said, your colleagues in Parliament have been very critical of the government from where they sit, the government's poor performance on infrastructure, and so I'm sure that you would have your take on that. So please stay with us. This is Good Morning Ghana. Please keep watching the show.
Start your Kids Day the right way, filled with confidence to take on any challenge. Pepsodent Kids contains the right amount of fluoride and sugar acid protection to care for their developing gums and teeth. Grab either orange or strawberry so they brush with the sweet flavor they love morning and evening. Pepsodent Kids, giving your children a bright smile for a brighter future.
Ebusiafo ye mama kwaba eba Children's Palace. Nkwala nyema nyina fie enye. Yonkwala ntade mani mema nyina ntare nyina wase. Yonkwala shoes, yonkwala duane, yonkwala wipes, yonkwala diapers, yonkwala toys, baby coat. In fact, bibia opama umanyina obenye biwa ase. Located at East Legon Hills, Nana Chrome KFC. Contact us on 059-6377-172. Children's Palace. Happy children, happy fashion. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Are you a headmaster, headmistress, parent, teacher, or an educator looking for high-quality textbooks for preschool, primary, and junior high school students? Look no further than Advocate Publishing Company. Advocate Publishing Company is a leading publisher of educational materials in Ghana that publishes very engaging, interactive, and comprehensive textbooks that meet the needs of students, teachers, and parents. Our textbooks are thoroughly published to make learning fun and easy. They are also designed to stimulate critical thinking, problem solving, and creativity in students. Make Advocate Publishing your preferred choice for all your educational needs. Explore our range of textbooks and educational resources. Visit us at the old GNTC yard near Kingsway, Accra. You can contact us on 0503 786 776 or 02408 06354, also 0531 600 and connect with us on Instagram, X, and Facebook at Advo Publishing. Don't settle for less. Choose the best. Advocate Publishing Company, empowering young minds one textbook at a time. Thinking publishing, think Advocate Publishing.
Yes, next. Hey, Nadia Benson.
Me didn't tum. Mr. Friendly Calico, just call me cockroach. Now, Mr. Friendly once now.
Hey, that's you. Improve car. Yeah. Captain Mosquito, double the accent.
Me didn't sasso spray. Mr. Friendly sasso quell. Yeah, to my sasso.
Tum preko.
In my line of work, a confident smile is everything. Kel Chaco toothpaste keeps me on top of my game and ensures my smile is always radiant and bright.
With the tiring nature of my job, we spend several hours under the scorching sun.
To keep our teeth white and our breath fresh all the time, we use none other than Kale Charcoal toothpaste. Kale Charcoal toothpaste. You're on a Kessie and then a kit one.
Samayo Kendini, who be here, Semetra Sapapadia to Amame Manfo, Kale Charcoal's natural ingredients, and a bomb is a buy, a man is swing, and a sansu mama hoto so a will beg you.
Kale Charcoal toothpaste. Choose Kale Charcoal toothpaste for anti-cavity, whiter teeth, and fresher breath all day. Available in 80 gram and 150 gram. Grab yours today.
Kale, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
Kwame and his uncle are almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame. As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, mommy.
The second coming. Into all this tension just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again?
Now I understand the whole delay. Troll from Kaswa dear. Why wouldn't he be late? Or be late?
Of course.
Star 712 hash, star 712 hash. Yeah, you go be the luckiest. Copy from Georgia be luckiest. From not the Pia she be luckiest. Yeah, you go be luckiest. No matter what you're luckiest. Everybody go be that luckiest.
That's Kwame!
Send your God down for boom. If you put it toye, so would the coming of the son of man be. Is that his car?
Dial star 712 hash. Choose your ticket. Enter your lucky number. Follow the prompts and let destiny handle the rest.
This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
Hi, I'm Vanessa Aseye Atipui, a medical doctor by profession. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and as part of the celebration, Metro TV, Original TV, and Original FM will be celebrating the day with free breast cancer screening and a general well-being check. I am therefore inviting you to the AMA Gardens in Accra Central near Tema Station on the 31st of October 2025. Come and get your breast checked and your general well-being check while you listen to good music and great vibes. Let us give hope to breast cancer survivors and breast cancer patients. Get your pink on and I will see you there.
You're still watching Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. My name is Audu Moro, and I'm here with Al-Hassan Suhini, who is the Honorable Member of Parliament for the people of Tamale North, the good people of Tamale North, and also Deputy Roads and Highway Minister. He's here with us, and also, in fact, he's also a journalist. He hasn't abandoned his journalism career at all. I don't be surprised if one of these days you see him hosting Good Morning Ghana. He won't mind, honestly, on a very good day when he has time. He will host it, and he hosts it flawlessly, that I can tell you. And also, Richard Ahiagba is the Director of Communications, a massive position for the New Patriotic Party. He's also here with us. Richard, yes, what's your take on everything else that, everything Al-Hassan Suhini has said, plus what the minority has also been complaining about?
Yeah, well, thank you. And I think Suhini has done a little bit of good to his government today, and I've acquiesced to that largely because I haven't seen him much of the year, and so it's good that he can have the occasion to talk about some of the things that government is doing. And in all honesty, what we are all interested in is that our country develops, systems or road infrastructure improves. And I was excited when you mentioned about the Accra-Kumasi Road. And he didn't say much there, but I think the idea that the president is open to realignment, I'm thinking in my head that realignment would include perhaps consideration of funding and probably bringing in private partnership to build that road. I think that's one of the areas that we have not explored. In fact, the New Patriotic Party had that.
Richard, if I may, I said new alignment.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay,
yes.
I had to say
realignment. So, I mean, I said that could, in my mind, thinking that maybe looking at other funding sources, opening the scope to be able to do it. Because what it takes is money, really, just to be able to do that. And so that road is one road among many that needs to be done just because of its importance, economic importance to the country. It's a death trap when you go on that road. It's really, really, really bad, such that now the airlines are, cashing in big time, because everybody is trying to avoid that. Apart from the convenience of being there fast and all of that, it's one of the reasons a lot of people are going to Kumasi mostly on the flights, because it's just not a place to play with. And I have my own history on that road. So it's one that I think that if we fix it, it will open up the country towards the north, especially from carrying cargo and stuff to move in that corridor. So I think that road is one of the things that we have to pay close attention to. But the only caveat there is that the NDC talks a lot of good game when it comes to these things. The last time they're talking some massive investment in the sector. The allocations don't match the ambition they portrayed. So I hope that they will be able to do it. A good point that Deputy Minister makes, and I agree with him in total, is the idea that we need to regulate the usage of the road. I am always in shock when you have these heavy trailers, oftentimes overloaded. Some of them exceeding the headroom that is provided on the roads, and they're just going, nobody checks them. Okay, there's access stations, most of them, I don't know how they are also regulated to do what they are mandated to do, and things are moving on the road, and it's so scary. And often these trailers will pass police checkpoints, and then they just go as if nothing is happening, and those contribute to deteriorating our road, especially in the hot of the day, okay, where the road is more, of course, the weather has loosened the surface of the road, and then they can affect the road. They are going because of their overweight, they are applying brakes, and it's pushing the road and causing all these rough surfaces to emerge, and over time then develop potholes and all of that. These things happen. So it's a good point is made if conscious effort can be paid to those to ensure that we regulate the usage of the road. After you have spent millions to build it, if you don't regulate it, it destroys in a matter of time. So all these conversations about shoddy work and all of that. Sometimes it may not be shoddy work, but it's just the usage of the road leads to its deterioration, because the anticipation and the usage regime envisioned for the road is not commensurate or is not consistent with what was imagined in construction. There has been over and above what capacities are supposed to go on the road. And that's where perhaps we have to complement all these road improvement or constructions with the rail sector, which was a very big effort the Akufo-Addo government was trying to put in to be able to complement the road sector. So I think that this government will have to continue to open up. I think I heard recently the president talked about some rail extension, I think, to the northern sector also. That's key. That's key. If we do that, it will open trade. Our Sahelian neighbors will be able to do more trade with us, and it will be relatively safer for our roads and cost efficient to do that. So I think that a lot more has to be done, but we believe that the government hasn't done enough, apart from talking a lot. Okay, so there's a difference there that needs to be reconciled. The volume of talk is certainly high, but the delivery is very disappointing. But we'll encourage them, since there's still time for them to do that. I believe that really when Ghana is developed, it won't matter what color you're wearing. It will still inure to our benefits the same. So I feel that we need to work together. But Moro, and perhaps to Deputy Minister, what it is that I worry about sometimes is the cost of our roads. Yeah, but then we have the engineer regiment of the Ghana Armed Forces, right? I'm at a loss why we cannot leverage their expertise to be able to cut down the costs of construction, so that maybe some of the roads, I mean, take nothing from them. They have the competence to do any road if anybody can do it. Bridges if anybody can do it. They have the competence to do it. So why we don't leverage that to cut down costs? Okay? Sometimes I don't understand it. You know, we have such a resource. They are there. Where Ghana is not engaged in any active war anywhere. They are there. The skill is there. We have sand. We have quarries all across the country. We have, not to do promotion for them, but now we have, cement being manufactured, Jata cement and many others. At least it will be a good effort now to be able to leverage all those things to cut down the cost of road construction in our country. Then we can do more roads. And I think in your video that you were playing earlier about the president talking about, in their campaign everywhere they went, chiefs and community leaders were talking about their roads, right? So we have problems with roads, opening up our country. If that is a concern, then we should leverage that to cut down drastically. I don't know, Minister, if you can help us, the cost of kilometer of road is crazy. You understand? Yeah. And looking at our budget and where we are as a people, it is going to take centuries, if not generations, to be able to bring our roads to where they are appreciably okay. As in the States recently, that we went somewhere out of state in Colorado, and you go to places and say, well, this road is here, right? It took a national effort at a period in time where the decision was that we need to go and construct and open up our country. So literally everywhere you go, you have a road that leads you there. So when you have a government that is coming, says that they want to do a big push, and center of that agenda is road construction or infrastructure development, I'm expecting that all these levers will be brought in. If not the big roads, at least some of the small roads and trunk roads can be given to the engineer regiment to supervise and to construct them, to cut down costs and to allow the development of infrastructure in our country. So I think that's one thing that maybe the ministry can begin to lobby for, and then maybe if it works, it would help our cost and improve infrastructure rather fast at a lower cost. But on the parliamentary thing that he said, I think I agree by and large, except that because of politics, and I'm happy he admitted that at a certain point he also made a comment that now, because he's now an MP, he won't make again. But politics has made it very difficult to actually have objective conversation about being an MP and what benefits you are to get, and whether or not that is fair or it's not. I think that there must be a second look. Now they have what is an absolute majority in Parliament, so they are at an advantage position to deal with some of those issues now, and then see how we can stabilize. But one of the things that I would recommend for us to do is to look at what they call Article 78, which then pairs or links the legislature to the executive when that is delinked. The president is at liberty to appoint people from Parliament, but it is not so much a constitutional burden on him to conjoin the legislature with the executive in that manner. So that in that case, then, you can have a career parliamentarian who is on a certain track and so therefore deserves or needs to be provided for in a certain way. Okay. Where the conjunction as it is now, you just see there's no difference, you understand? And this issue of double salary and all of those things are matters that can be dealt with if we look at amending Article 78 to free the president, from having to appoint people necessarily from Parliament. But he can appoint, but not now as a requirement or as a certain percentage that must come from Parliament. That, I think, will give Parliament the independence it needs to make its case, and Ghanaians will look at it objectively. As to the social responsibilities and the other matters that are burdening to most MPs, I think that that's also a function of our politics around going to Parliament. And because they themselves canvass that we'll do all these things for you if you vote for us as MP. And it's also a function of evolution, how our democratic process is evolving. I think over time, with education, people will come to understand that to be an MP is to legislate primarily. And so when an MP is canvassing for your vote, you want to engage him, or you want to have an understanding that he knows the problem of the constituency and how he can canvass for legislation, appropriate legislation to deal with the problems that you have that will improve your life, not necessarily be in a position to advance pecuniary benefits that would make your life better, or pay your fees, or do certain personal interventions. They can do that, but that will not be a requirement, and that will not be a campaign message. And if it's not a campaign message, then you can't hope to extract any benefits once you appoint the person. But you can measure Sweeney on whether or not in Parliament is advocating for the interest of the people of Tamale North and the broader Tamale or Northern Region area. And if he has done that, then you want him to be there so your interest will be championed. Right. Then on that basis, then we're having a conversation about how our democracy can move forward. And for me, it's very, very important to also de-escalate the increasing influence of money in our politics. Is to a point where if we don't tame it, it is going to overrun this democracy, such that money bags will be leading our country as opposed to, people with ideas and appropriate passion, and commitment to the cause of our national development to lead, because they will be eliminated by lack of money. And that's what the space has become. And listening to him and the matters that he addressed over the weekend when he was home, and matters to do with people going to school and the expectations and all of that, that comes with money, right? So therefore, because you are MP, you have to be able to advance that. That is crowding what it is that you are supposed to be doing to help the good people of your Tamale North or whatever your constituency is. It then becomes a measure. That's what this MP doesn't give money. As for this person, he doesn't support. I mean, it takes away from the magnitude of the job that you're going to do, the impact you're supposed to have. It reduces it to that. And so therefore you go there, and people in Parliament today, and I use it very advisedly not to attack anybody, in Parliament today, but they will never have an occasion to advance anything. There are very few people in Parliament are the ones pushing the institution. But the balance of people there, they're just there warming the seats. They won't ever say anything. They won't ever contribute to anything. Do you understand? And that is not helping our democracy. And it all comes down to this influence of money and the high expectation in terms of personal benefit people are seeking to extract from their members of Parliament. And so I see the difficulty. You talk to them in private, and you see the stress that's on them. And I think that if the least Speaker wants to do is to afford them some room in the year to go to have a private moment which I don't believe is going to be private, because once you're not there, where your constituency, you're trying to do some work. So it's a full-time work, which does not respect weekends, but some of them, when they tell you their story, is very grueling. And I hope that we can improve our democracy to where people begin to see what the people as representatives are supposed to do, measure that, be objective about it, so we can move our democracy forward.
You know, I keep saying in this country, we're a very interesting lot. And there's a very interesting paradox, that the very people who complain of corruption are also the beneficiaries of it.
Anyway, I read an article somewhere where the researcher made the argument that the corruption in many parts of Africa is demand-driven. And in the research work, the argument was made that it could actually even be termed as wealth redistribution.
Okay. Okay.
It's an interesting piece, and
I'd like to read that.
You know, it's relatable. I mean, if you are in the positions that some of us are in, it's very, very relatable, but it is also very, very debatable. You know, but yes, the point is made that it is demand driven, and it can actually be argued as a way of wealth redistribution in the sense of it. But just two quick ones. I mean, Richard, in agreeing with what his colleagues in Parliament are saying, because that's what they are paid to do.
That's all they are paid to do. They are paid to hold you accountable.
That's what they are paid to do now. You know, made the point that they made, that we just talk, no action. Moro, 5 billion Ghana cedis made available to contractors. It's not talk. It's action. It's money being, you know, realized in people's accounts, and it is going to make the contractors return to site. That's not talk. We've done our part. We are not saying we are going to pay 5 billion. We're saying we have released it. That's action. I mean, the president cut and sword for projects to begin. Go to the project site. He did that here in Greater Accra, did that in the Volta region, and has just done that in the Western region. Go to the sites. And there are other sites that he has not even visited yet, but work is ongoing. So that's not talk. The big push is on course. And just to, you know, further the point that he and I agree on with regards to the maintenance of our roads, we are very fortunate to have a very dynamic, you know, Minister of Roads and Highways, very, very forthright. And anyone who has engaged him will attest to that. I mean, he takes no prisoners at all when it comes to, you know, preserving the investments that we are making in this sector. The other day, after our tour, I don't want to mention the particular road so that perhaps I compromise the contractor. He noticed that a certain road, you know, was bleeding, as they call it in the, you know, engineering terms. After a very, you know, short, I mean, after they handed over, long, you know, not long after they handed over, he noticed the bleeding. He noticed that sections of the road has started deteriorating. I mean, he quickly instructed our engineers to investigate it. And only a couple of weeks ago, the contractor was summoned to the ministry, and without mincing words, he was directed to go back to site and fix it. And the contractor had also been informed of the minister's investigation into the reason why the project was failing, and had also carried out his own investigations, and actually presented a report admitting to, you know, some of the things that didn't go right on the project.
So now it's going to be at his cost.
Yes, at his cost. And he has agreed to go and remedy the situation at his cost. You know, that is the kind of leadership that is being provided at the Ministry of Roads. Now, I just told you about the Sino Hydro project. I mean, out of frustration, he has directed that, look, our engineers should look at it and give us the cost to complete, budget. And let's see if the Chinese are not, living up to our expectation, if we can take it on board on the big push. So we are not just talking. In fact, there's actually work that is being done on the ground, and there's evidence to show.
All right. Okay, so let's move on to our next issue. And before I talk about it, let me just try and see if I can go down memory lane. In 1974, I wasn't born. I was born 4 years later. I'm a 78 born, 1978 born, April 1978. But 4 years before that, there was a big talk about some heavyweight boxing fight between George Foreman and Muhammad Ali. It was on, I think, October 30 or so, and they recorded about some 60,000, talking about the spectators were there, but then over the world, worldwide, was about some 6 billion viewership. Of course, George Foreman lost that fight, even though it was highly anticipated that he would win, because at the time he was a reigning heavyweight champion. And so Mike Tyson wins that fight and reclaims it. Since then, it's been termed as a rumble in the jungle. And we have had our, we can call it a version of it. And there was a part 2 yesterday. So Rumble in the Jungle, number 1, and Rumble in the Jungle, number 2 yesterday. The Ghana's Attorney General gave us, a taste of that. And the Daily Graphic, as we all can anticipate, has actually carried a story on its front page.
Rumble in the Jungle, Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson? I'm not
Sorry?
too sure. Is it Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson?
No, it was actually Muhammad Ali,
Yeah,
Mike Tyson.
okay,
Yeah, sorry,
yeah.
Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
No, actually George Foreman.
Yes,
It was George Foreman and Muhammad Ali. Sorry, George Foreman and Muhammad Ali.
Right.
So Daily Graphic has reported it, but once I'm done with Daily Graphic, I'll walk you through some, what do you call it? Something that we put together. So the Daily Graphic says AG unveils 78.2 million cedis buffer stock scandal. Former CEO, wife, accomplices face 25 charges. National Service deal balloons to 2.2 billion. So there's two, stories in one. Now, Kester Abram Crunch is reporting that Attorney General AG and Minister of Justice Dr. Dominic Ayine has announced the imminent prosecution of the former Chief Executive Officer of the National Food and Buffer Stock Company, NAFCO, Hanan Abdul Wahab, and his wife, Faiza Seidu Wuni, for the alleged roles in an elaborate criminal enterprise. Pilfered 78.2 million cedis from state coffers. The couple, alongside several NAFCO officials, will be charged tomorrow with a litany of offenses. So that's today, including stealing, conspiracy to steal, willfully causing financial loss to the state, using public office for profit, and money laundering. Dubbed the Rumble in the Jungle by the AG, the scheme allegedly saw funds meant for the school feeding program siphoned through a network of shell companies while food supplies went unpaid and school children were deprived of nutrition. Now, in a comprehensive press conference at the Jubilee House yesterday, the Attorney General also provided updates on the ongoing investigation stemming from the Oral Committee report. He disclosed that the National Intelligence Bureau has concluded investigations into 12 major cases, including SkyTrain, National Service Authority, Ghost Names, SML, and the Palugu Dam alleged scandals. Significantly, Dr. Yin revealed that the estimated loss in the NSA scandal had ballooned from the initial 548 million cedis to 2.2 billion cedis following a forensic audit by the Auditor General. Now, prosecutions have commenced in the SkyTrain and National Service scandals, he said, adding that about 10 cases would ultimately be filed in the NSA scandal. Investigations are still ongoing for other high-profile matters, including the African Games mathematical sets, the Bank of Ghana head office building, stadium renovation, and the National Cathedral. And then he goes on and delves into the National Cathedral. So, Brett, let's the artwork that you, Annie, and the team have put together, can we have a look at it? So these are the cases that, first of all, have been identified by the Attorney General. So as I said, SkyTrain, National Service Ghost Name Scandal, District Road Improvement Project, the Strip, National Lotteries, the Sosa Palugu Multipurpose Dam, and then also the SML, so 6 in number. And then there's Frontier Healthcare Services, it's also there. There's free Wi-Fi, there's National Ambulance, there's Buankra Integrated Inland Logistics Terminal, there's the Sputnik V vaccines case, and there's a land lotting, 8 instances investigated. And then the money laundering transfers by the former CEO of National Food and Buffer Stock Company. Now, we're told there's a Sautina Enterprise to Hanan Abdul Wahab. We're talking 16,171,137.25. And there's a Sautina Enterprise to Alkani Enterprise. That's 23,913,964.90. There's also Sautina Enterprise to the FA Hausa Ventures. That's 500,000 cities. And then 500,000, yes. The Sautina Enterprise to Chain Homes Ghana Limited, which is 550,000 cities. In total, we're talking some 40,493,102.15. And then there's properties acquired with the proceeds of crime by former CEO of National Food and Buffer Stock Company. Now we're told he has acquired a 5-bedroom house at Chain Homes, which is priced at some $1.625 million US. And there's a 3-bedroom house at Cantonment, like $600,000 US. There's plots of land at Airport Development, that's $750,000 US. There's also 17-bedroom boutique hotel at Gumani in Tamale. That's $250,000 US. There's also a 4-bedroom bungalow situated at Jolu. It's 4.142451 million cedis. There's purchased a 32-acre government land at 307,200 cedis. That's the last slide that we have. Those are the artwork that our team has put together just to sort of put everything in its proper perspectives as we begin this. Now, let me start with you, Alhassan Suni. I mean, there's a certain sense that this administration is under enormous pressure to deal with persons who have been found, or to get some elements within the Etwal government to be accountable for the stewardship. And it is also based on the fact that the NDC spoke a lot in the position and created a certain impression that you were just going to come and lift people and just throw them in Sawam. And so I'm sure in your own small corner, and generally as a government, there's a lot of talk about why aren't you prosecuting them? Why aren't you prosecuting them? That is bringing a lot of pressure on the Attorney General, even though the Attorney General may not say that is if indeed that's the case. Look at this, what you heard yesterday from the Attorney General from that perspective of, are you under pressure? Of course, you can put the AG and the OSP matter, which is all part of fighting corruption and all that. So put all of that together in 10-15 minutes and then Richard can come in.
Well, you're right. The government is under intense pressure to deliver on the issues of accountability. And that is fair. But that is not because the NDC spoke a lot about issues of corruption in the past government. It is because the people themselves saw acts of corruption every day around them. Every day around them. I mean, it got to a point the previous government could easily pass us one that engaged in a scandal every week. And that was not the NDC talking. It was the people of Ghana witnessing, the acts of corruption, the blatant pilfering, the misuse of public resources. It was all over the place. It's the reason why our country got to the new low of having to declare bankruptcy. It's one of the reasons why we had to declare bankruptcy. I mean, never before in the history of this country have we gotten to a point where we were simply unable to pay our debts. I mean, under Acheampong, it was a deliberate decision. It was Yentuya. But under the previous government, it was Yentimintuya. Like, we just got to that point where we could not service our debts. And it was partly because, like Kennedy Acheampong said, that people were simply stealing like there's no tomorrow. And Kennedy Agyapong is not a member of the NDC. So the pressure that is being brought to bear on us is not because we talked so much in opposition. It's because the evidence of wrongdoing was that palpable, to the extent that one who is seeking to lead their party today, at the time, joined the chorus and confirmed that their people in government were stealing like there was no tomorrow. And so when you find people eagerly expecting that prosecutions be fast track, it is understandable. But we need to understand that we live in a country where we have undertaken to be governed by laws. And so it is the government's determination to actually meet the expectations of the people. But it has to meet these expectations within the democratic framework that we have all accepted to operate under. I mean, how lovely it would have been if we were not under democracy. I mean, it would have just been, match them in, maybe after some tribunal hearings, maybe after yesterday's presser, some people would have been languishing in jail by now. But that is not the system of government that we have chosen as a people. And so the system that we have chosen does not permit that. So regardless of our determination to see these people in jail, we still have to take them through the course of law. And that is what the Attorney General is doing.
What the law say, due process.
The due process. That is what the Attorney General is doing. All he is doing currently is to re-echo the government determination to meet the expectations of the people. That is by keeping them informed of the processes that he is embarking on. It is done in all democracies around the world. I mean, in states, in the United States of America, you have state attorneys even come out to address the public every now and then on very, critical issues that they are either investigating or prosecuting. It is done everywhere. Then they tell you who the suspects are at this point, why they suspect them at this point, how the charges will be, couched, and the processes that the prosecution will take.
Yeah.
It is done everywhere, and that is exactly what the Attorney General is doing, so that he can carry the nation along. And my God, Moro, some of the things are mind-boggling. They are scary. They are frightening. To think that people with the responsibility of improving state institutions engage in some of the things that we are hearing just makes one understand why sometimes some politicians, maybe like myself, are not considered good enough by your friends and your associates. Because
this matter is deep.
Yeah. Because Charlie, some of the things you are asking yourself, really, like people can engage in this, like, so when people around you have certain expectations of you, maybe it's because of other things that they have seen that you think is impossible. Well, you can't imagine. You can't wrap your head around it.
It's actually happening somewhere.
Ah, goodness me. So, look, I am hoping that at the end of the day, innocent people will not be, denied justice. That is my hope, that those who have actually engaged in wrongdoing, in corrupt activities, are punished, and not just punished, but there must be a way of recouping some of these, state assets, because they are state assets. If it is proven that those ill-gotten wealth came as a result of, abuse of office, those things should be confiscated by the state for use. I think that we should not just aim at prosecuting people and putting them behind bars and feeding them and paying prison officers to still take care of them, so that after a few years they can come out and continue to enjoy the loot that they got from the state. There must be a way of recovering some of this loot as well. And so I urge the Attorney General to continue with what he is doing. And maybe people don't know Honorable Dominic Ayine. He's another no-nonsense person, a very thorough person, a very diligent person, and a very independent-minded person. Trust me, His Honorable Dominic Ayine doesn't think that something is right to pursue. There is no way that even the entire regime, I know what I'm saying, can stampede him into doing it. And if he's also convinced that there is reason to pursue a matter, God save whoever that matter is against.
Would you say the Office of the Special Prosecutor has been helpful in your fight against corruption? I mean, you see, whether you like it or not, some people see the office as part of the NDC government, rightly or wrongly. And so you remember that you noticed that when this OSP AG matter came up, or social media, you hear talk about, the government must do something about the Ken Ofori-Atta matter and so on and so forth. So whilst at it, talking about the government, the John Mahama's government, the John Mahama's administration's commitment to fighting corruption, have you been impressed with the OSP's support? And now it's not just the government, but the states, to the state's quest to fight corruption, with all that you've heard? For a very long time, Maura, I've been very indifferent about the activities of the OSP. I would say even from the inception. And what's your basis for this indifference?
I, from the beginning, didn't think that there was a need for such an office at all.
Really?
Yeah, I was in Parliament when we considered the law. I was part of the appointments committee when we vetted the first nominee of His Excellency President Akufo-Addo. You were not convinced about the philosophy that drove the setting up of it? No, I think that it was simply. I think it was simply driven by vendetta and the expectation of using that office to hound former government officials. So it was not set up right, and so it has never lived up to expectation from its inception. Because I think that the conception was on a wrong basis. Yes, I share in the argument of making the Minister of Justice perhaps independent from the Attorney General office. I see the sense in those who think that there's a need for an independent prosecutor. And that for me lies in the separation of the Minister of Justice from the Attorney General, Office of the Attorney General. I mean, there is a way we can go around it, but the Office of the Special Prosecutor, in the form that it was created, for me, does not still solve the problem that people highlighted as being associated with the merging of Minister of Justice and the Attorney General office. So from day one, I have had little expectations from that office. And so I will say, because of my low expectations of it, I haven't been disappointed by how it has operated so far. And I was quite disturbed that, over 3 months after the former Minister of Finance was declared wanted, it didn't seem to me that any effort had been made by the OSP to enforce that declaration. I mean, it's not enough to just splash that news in the media and go to sleep. You know, well, the information is that in the coming days, they will furnish the Attorney General with the needed information to facilitate the interdiction, what do you call it? The extraction of Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta, the extradition of Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta. I hope that they will live up to that promise of providing the Attorney General with the information. But for me, that revelation only came to reinforce my thinking that that office was needlessly created and unfortunately has not lived up to expectation of those who had high hopes in that office. I hope that in the coming days they will change their approach and their modus operandi. But so far, I am not very impressed with that office. I don't know if it has to do with the occupants of the office or it is just the mistake in the setup. Because I believe that from day one, the conception of that office, like I said, was not right. And so it becomes difficult for me to blame the occupants of the office. I am not convinced if it really has to do with the capacity or the capability of the occupants, or the whole setup was just not right.
It appears that the cause for it to be scrapped, it appears to be growing. I don't know where you stand.
I wouldn't mind. I think that yes, if it gets to that, I will be one of those who will support that call. Except that I will want in its place for something to be done. For example, for the powers of Shraj Yoko to be improved and resources to be made more available, or for the Attorney General's office to be separated from the Minister of Justice. I mean, in its place, something really has to give. We cannot just, I don't think that we should just scrap it for the sake of it. We should scrap it with the intention of strengthening the anti-corruption drive, if it comes to that. I am not calling for it scrapping, but I'm saying if the conversation moves in that direction, I'll have no difficulty at all supporting that conversation. But I will only urge that if that is going to be done, it should be done within the framework of establishing something more rigorous, something more frontal, something more if you like, something better than we currently have.
I think you've been consistent with your indifference, which is
absolutely.
If it's there, fine. But if you're going to scrap it, then sell to me.
Yes, what is better?
What is better?
Yes.
I guess that's
yes.
where you're coming from.
Yes.
Richard, corruption, holding of public officers, public office holders accountable, buffer stock, Ken Ofori-Atta. We're struggling to bring him down to come and face justice, etc. I mean, where do you stand on all of these?
Well, I think I stand where all Ghanaians stand, on the issue of dealing with corruption, because it's the one single thing that saps away resources that we need so badly to improve conditions for our people and to make our country develop as quickly as possible. So for me, I would not in any conversation support or advocate for a proven act of corruption. That ought to be punished and punished severely. But what my fear is that you have an effort by the government, led by the Attorney General, to sully people's reputation through media litigation of matters that ought to be brought to the courtroom for for deliberation and verification, validation, and then punishment then comes if the people are found guilty. So the media element, and I hear my brother when he makes the point about, oh, in other jurisdiction it's done. It's not done in the fashion Attorney General is doing it. Okay, this thing he does where he comes and lists properties, that, and all of these, almost convicting the person. See how Sweeney is gobsmacked. He said, oh God, I mean, these things, people have done these things, all right. You know, it sends chills. And people watch it on TV and like, oh my God, this is crazy, right? Just recently, I think the Deputy Attorney General is now, you know, lowering expectation of all these whole thing they've done about Aura, that some specific amount of billions. That's what they made the impression to be. But now he's saying, oh, that cannot be the case, and so therefore it's lower than what is there. The point is that lower by what amount? Why is it necessary to put that thing out there when it's not been verified? My good brother Dobolovo goes to say that, oh, there was a lot of garbage in the oral documentation. Garbage. They presented garbage to the president. Are they serious? Moral. And this is about people's reputation. This is about a whole era. 8 years. And then the former auditor, who should know better in terms of distilling garbage from substance, but says that he presented garbage to the president. So this whole thing about oral, which is the basis for all of these things that is happening, is a lot of garbage. But meanwhile, the fight against corruption should not be garbage. It should be factual. It should be done in the courtroom. So what is this? What is this, Moro? I mean, it makes a joke of the whole business of fighting corruption, which we must fight. Which we must fight. Look, we have a little effort where, you know, following my accident, we set up a small, you know, foundation we're supporting here and there to do this. Moro, you imagine that some of these things can be dealt with if all these monies, indeed, if they are stolen by somebody. The effort, the way we approach it is serious enough that it deters people. But now you have a situation where this is going to be a media thing to score political point, or it is MPP and that sort of thing, but then there is no substance, just to damage people, besmirch people's characters, and then at the end of the day, no show. We've had this thing where the minister on this normal press conference escapades will come and say, oh, Mr. Kobler Dubois, he lists items that he's bought, houses, this, that, this, and that. What has happened to that? Now, I think they said they are seizing handbags and things. What's that? What is this whole thing about, Moro? We are making a joke of a serious matter. So the Attorney General, while he's a serious-minded person, his actions in this venture, all his job is to say that they say, oh, we have collected. All our people have done the garbage already. Just sort through the garbage. Let's see what the facts are. These things that is going on about is repeating the oral formula. Were you not here when the oral people are knocking on people's door, breaking front doors and going there and say, this is our property, this is state property, and all of that for garbage. Now, if after they have done the garbage, you are supposed to distill it, you too, you are doing the same thing. Just, you know, throwing things about without verification, without evidence. In fact, following what they did yesterday, the man in the center of the store, Abdul Hanan, has issued a statement saying all of that he has said, he had no involvement. You see, so he has a bully pulpit where he comes there and the media takes it. Now the man is on the front page, assuming he's not done anything, that belongs to history. That caption there belongs to history. But somehow, he may be exonerated. That all these things are much ado about nothing. It was only the Attorney General and his party and his government seeking to reinforce a certain political propaganda they did in the 2024 election and days before that. to win power. They want to let the Ghanaians know that, we told you these people have stolen, and so this is it. But those claims they are making finds no validation anywhere. We, at least for now, we haven't seen any validation of anything. Thanks to the Deputy Attorney General forcing Domolovo to come and say, in fact, that was garbage that he brought.
But
that's what he said.
He didn't say everything they brought was garbage.
But I'm saying, so what?
Some of the things.
Moro.
So some of the things that they collected by way of data.
But why would they collect garbage? The point is that, why would they collect any garbage at all? Especially when he, a former Auditor General, is on, he's collecting garbage. So is it that where all this while he's been collecting garbage? I mean, it's a serious matter. Oh, in fact, Chief Justice was removed on a matter that is related to audit. And he says that the whole Chief Justice, a whole arm of government, we're talking here about how we have to work together to ensure that Parliament has leave and their work condition is improved, severed from executive and all of that. A Chief Justice, the head of the judicial arm of our government, removed. She was just literally yanked off the office. Just because political party wanted to do it. And the Constitution, Article 146, provided means to do it and say, we have an idea. Where is the instrument to do it? 146 exists. Let's use it. So this has been a skirmish that we have done for all this while. A lot of talk, plenty. My brother was saying that, they didn't talk much. They 5 billion. What about 6 billion? What about 7 billion? They can do more. But the point I'm asking is that even that 5 billion at the expense of what? There's all conversations going on about, allocations here is not coming and all of that. If you save all your money to take me and Swede to a very posh restaurant, so Moro has got it and his man has made it. Then your kids' school fees are not paid. Moro, you're not a great guy. You are not.
Is that what's happening?
But I'm just saying that, that's why I asked the question, at what expense? Okay, a lot of things. Look, this one I wanted to wait. Government, one of the government's flagship program is the Feed Ghana program. Do you know what is happening to that?
What's happening?
We'll talk about that much later. Okay? Zero. No show. No show so far. No show. Flagship program.
I said no fund allocation.
Absolutely. It's a difficulty. So at what expense are we allocating that? That is not to say that it's not good. Right? The accounts have a saying that says, you understand? The point of the matter is that this whole thing they are brandishing here, big this, big that. The point is you have to govern the country, not to pick and choose where. Okay, so that matter we'll discuss in some good detail. So this whole thing by the Attorney General, it's a charade. I am for punishing people who've messed up. If that's the case, let's do it according to where that ought to be done. Why is cabinet meeting not held on television for us to see? Right? So if it must be in the courtroom, take the evidence to court. So the Attorney General is wasting taxpayers' time and money to come and stay on TV and talk about matters that ought to be litigated in the courtroom. That's the problem. You come and tarnish people's image in public. And the people are walking about and people think the public has convicted them already as criminals. When I read about Hanan's statement yesterday, I was like, he shouldn't have issued that statement. But on the other hand, if you think about it, he has a reason. Why? Because there is a version of narrative out there about him having done something, and in good conscience, I assume, by him thinking that I haven't done those things. So if the Minister, Attorney General, chooses to sully his name in the public, then he must bring that counterfact to be able to balance the situation. So now we have to quote the two of them. Minister, Attorney General says you have done so, I haven't done it. So now where the fight belongs is the courtroom, which the minister should have known to begin with. So there's an abuse.
But Alassane just
This
told
is the
you,
use of a bullet pulpit.
But Alassane just told you earlier that also in line with good governance, you have to carry the people along. You disagree?
You think that the people will be left behind if he wins the case in court?
So you don't,
the people don't appreciate the details. Why is it so that you can't wash your dirty linen in public? Everybody knows that what you are wearing clean was once dirty and you washed it, right?
So it means you disagree with the approach.
It's a political venture they are on, now validated by the evidence that they submitted garbage, which garbage they are sorting through to bring these press conferences. The Deputy Attorney General is saying to you that, oh, the impression the oral team created that some 21 billion is out there to be collected, it may not be true, because these things will not stand a test in the courtroom. And so, as a responsible Attorney General, Deputy supporting his boss says that, look, please, guys, cool down. There's a lot of garbage here that we have to solve. It probably all end up being garbage. Everything garbage. So if that is the case, then let's go out there, use the bullet pulpit to destroy people, to have the public have a certain perception that Moro is corrupt.
Richard,
so that by the time we go to court and lose, those who took the information from the front page of Daily Graphic will not come back and revert, because after you go to court, unless I come and hold a press conference, or Haddad or whoever whose name has been solid has come to make a press conference and say, look, all that Attorney General said was a lie, people will not get back to that. And even if you come to say it, it will be like you tooting your own horn, and so they will not take it. But meanwhile, the Attorney General, coming on the back of corruption, the fake news they promoted, oh, people, the 21 billion. I remember vividly, the picture is in my mind, so graphic right now, when I was watching my brother Okujeto Ablakwa, the Minister for Foreign Affairs, on a certain network, with this camera thingy, so mic thingy on the pouch here over here, and he's walking about in his suit trying to point 21 billion, this billion will collect this 18 billion, and all of that. But today, here we are in your studio. We are not standing and pointing on any screen. But I can tell you, based on what the Deputy Attorney General has said, what my brother, the former Auditor General Yao Dombolevo has said, that all that show he did at that studio pointing on screens is a bunch of garbage. It is garbage.
Okay.
You understand? The only place that we can sort through this is the courtroom.
All right.
And that courtroom, I encourage the Attorney General to go there.
Okay.
And not in the Jubilee House where they have created this.
He says he'll be there today.
He should where?
He's hoping you go to court today. He's going to court today.
He should have gone to court today and not yesterday in the public.
All
right. But anyway, let me just address something small.
About OSP?
No.
Okay.
The OSP, that matter, I'm not going to get into that. But they should just prosecute who they think has wronged the state. Enough of the talk already. They should prosecute special prosecutor, attorney general. They should get it done. We support them when they are doing that. I will support them when they are doing that. Okay. But this extra stuff, just to tarnish people, this political propaganda thing, is not helping anybody.
All right.
But you see, Sweden says something about in the first time in the history of Ghana, Champon intentionally here because we don't want to pay, so I think we can't pay, but we just don't want to pay that. Of course, MPP we don't have the money to pay. Look, it's a fallacy. And he, my brother, was in Parliament when they orchestrated all the situation that bubbled up to the difficulty we had, and eventually have to go to the IMF. Moro, so, you remember the finance minister saying that we will not go to IMF. I remember myself saying that point at some point, that going to the IMF will be subject to us not willing to make the difficult decisions that we must make.
Okay.
The government in the 2021 budget going into 2022, proposed a medium of raising certain revenue in anticipation of the expenses that were made in 2020 to deal with COVID. With that, what you call the e-levy introduction. Well,
okay.
That instrument was supposed to raise some significant amount, about 6.9 billion or 7 billion, to be able to plug the gaps that will result in 2022 going forward.
Okay.
They opposed that.
Okay.
Unconscionably. The NDC opposed that.
Now, Richard.
No, I'm just trying to give you the history which you have decided to ignore.
Richard,
and so,
you're not blaming us for the DDEP. MPs.
But
we are responsible.
No, let me just finish.
Goodness.
So what then resulted was that in order to deal with the matters from 2020, the general economic environment that ensued following the impact of COVID, okay, you then have to go to the IMF. So we didn't elect to do a DDEP, but it was part of the restructuring that came with the conditionalities with the IMF. So if you just want to take a break. So when you make a categorical statement, you must be careful to point out where the caveats are. Okay. So it is not that the Akufo-Addo government says that we won't pay because we don't have the money to pay. But it was a matter that you are responsible for, partly responsible in politicizing a revenue instrument which government legitimately has the power to use to be able to solve problems. Now that you guys are passing laws left, right, center, the devil levy and all the things you're passing, who is saying anything? Okay. You're passing it because it's necessary to be able to solve your problem. So the DDEP matter, which brought about the decision that we couldn't pay because we needed to do the restructure, was not an intentional decision, was not a matter of inability. The government had foresight to raise the money. They stalled it, they stampeded it, they made it so that it was not possible for government to raise that revenue. And by the way, it's not only Ghana that had that default. Ethiopia, of all countries, also had a default. Okay. Zambia also had a default. So it's not only Ghana. And so when he's making the point, we must be clear about that.
Okay, so I'm surprised that goodness.
The fire is in your belly and you want to,
Yeah.
We'll take a break.
Well, he did want to meet the last time.
So you're watching English Morning Guide on Metro Television. Please don't go anywhere.
Start your kids' day the right way, filled with confidence to take on any challenge. Pepsodent Kids contains the right amount of fluoride and sugar acid protection to care for their developing gums and teeth. Grab either orange or strawberry so they brush with the sweet flavor they love morning and evening. Pepsodent Kids, giving your children a bright smile for a brighter future.
Menya oden o tiantie mu amanfo ada o hye me boso beto phone na ma me phone asai dada menya oden
the most surprised ma
surprise ben
surprise
hey Kofi papa phone o iPhone 13 nanya ne
ende me fankofo bi mienu o amuko circle ene ba ko ne ka chena dan fa hawa ono ode ni Ghana card eko EBA phone so a otua 40% pen ede ni phone ma no a da aka no betua ne kakra Timothy ya me drop na me so me call ho ana me kwanya wo phone de bre wo
oh Kofi papa me da se am sure
baby oh kogu let's see what
Wo EBA phones hadie, yeton iPhones ne ho akade nyina. Ye sanso de ma wholesale. So ye dealer na so pedodo atua. Anase afi na wo hye iPhone business na sia. Braya sia ye, hwehwe ye chira kwan e wo Accra Circle Mall. Any Tiptoe Lane, modern photos in chain. American Monso, ye ni Odor Rice ene di nhwenim. Kumase ye wedum, ejekuma brunsan nim. Obetumi so hu ye e wo www.
Ama Nansi mi cheno wo bin enko ye kwao. Amama ye bohu se kontomra akija.
Nansi me hu se me nyo basi makura. Ama me kunu ni me into kwankwa. Oyiwa. Enye mo give us GC lecture and the capsules. Aye numbum. En ho asem na mo kana. Ebua emma ene meme nyina. Ne ma wo ba ye obesima. Na be ma so aye be masima. Ya we be bua wuku ama ne giant sa wo de hye ne botum na wanyinya ne nti sese ne wo yi chokwa GC mixture and capsule. Achesa.
A painful battle one more menu for one kwada when if you do me can be
Achesa. Wabedum time aso. Hey, J. Watch it, na learning. Missy, watch and learn. Makwaya mabesisia. Abozing. Akache say no ya konate and the more drink woman. Hey. But I didn't mean. Oh, sorry. She knew her old dish. Eji, Dabio, baby wom. Ready? Hey, baby wom. Ah, Eji. I'll cause some discomfort. Ah. Sorry, well, uncle, where would the dad? Why your funeral? At your phone for Aerofield Trading. Sorry, it killed them all.
No mum share Nanda Daya was mosquito call Esudu Womunumu. Na say spray with them musa. Chaisima edronum ansana ko dynamo.
And Kratoi FDA Ajatum.
Kwame and his uncle are almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame. As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, mommy.
I'm the second coming. Into all this tension just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again? Now I understand the whole delay. Troll from Kaswa dear. Why wouldn't he be late? Obey you later.
Of course.
Star 712 hash, star 712 hash. You go be the luckiest. Copy from Georgia be luckiest. From not the cause she be luckiest. Me and you go be luckiest. No matter why you're luckiest. Everybody go be the luckiest.
That's Kwame.
Send your God the apple boom. If you put it at all, so would the coming of the Son of Man be.
Hey!
Is that his car?
Dial star 712 hash. Choose your ticket. Enter your lucky number. Follow the prompt and let destiny handle the rest.
This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
Victory, celebration, legacy. It's 40 years of Jesus is our victory. Join Victory Bible Church International for the Wonderful Jesus Conference 2025. A power-packed celebration marking 40 glorious years of God's faith and God's grace. It all begins on Saturday, 12th October with the Mega Praise and Worship Night, a night of pure gratitude and praise. Then get ready for the Wonder Walk on October 25th, a citywide walk of testimony and victory. From October 27th to the 30th of October, the Wonderful Jesus Conference continues live at the VBCI Dominion Sanctuary, Awoshi Junction. Expect nothing but divine encounters, miracles, and transformation. On October 31st, meet us at the Independence Square for a nationwide gathering of worship, power, and the Word. Then on November 1st, join the outreach program at Mancho Agbona. Then let's touch lives and share the love of Jesus Christ. And finally, the grand service at the Independence Square on November 2nd. Come and witness the glory of 40 years of victory. Ministering are Bishop N.A. Takiyaboy, Bishop Clement Amankwa Isehene, Bishop Elijah Saforo, and Bishop Emmanuel Akon. Wonderful Jesus Conference 2025. 40 years of grace, power, and impact. From the 12th of October to the 2nd of November. Victory Bible Church International invites you to celebrate Jesus, because Jesus is our victory.
There was nothing administratively in error. I dare say, for the records, you forced LGBT on the throat of the Akufo-Addo government. Today, you don't want LGBT. You would want it. Mumbe pepper. Mumbe pepper, papa. You use it to win election. Now, when your stakeholders, the international community, is warning you, you want to run away. Run to where? You now see governance.
On sexual rights and family values bill, my recollection is that it was passed by Parliament already. That's my recollection, that we passed this already as Parliament. We passed it.
All right, so watching Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. I'm here with Alhassa Suhuyini, who is MP for Tamale North and also Deputy Roads and Highways Minister. Richard Yahagba is also here as the Director of Communications for the NPP. So, listen.
Because we don't have time to discuss this matter, let me start with it, because it's related to what Richard said. You know, the NPP is out there marking their own, setting their own questions and marking it. So, for example, you have the minority leader on the floor portraying an incorrect view that the majority is against the passage of, the LGBTQ, the law that has become popularly known as, the bill that has become popularly known, because it couldn't become a law thanks to the NPP. So can you imagine the irony? Thanks to them, it couldn't become a law. We championed it. We passed it in the last Parliament. I'm getting there. I'm saying it's related. It's related. Okay. We passed the law, and then your president refused to, sign it. Actually said desist. The Parliament shouldn't bring the law near him. He didn't even go through the process of returning the bill to Parliament. Maybe if you had returned it to Parliament, it would have just been a process of Parliament look at. This president has committed to ensuring that the bill returns to Parliament appropriately and being dealt with. And then you are there shouting as if the majority have all of a sudden decided to abandon the bill. We haven't. And that's why the Honorable Mama Ayerga told him. It's the same thing that my brother here says, that Article 146, we yanked off the Chief Justice and blah, 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 blah. Please, 146 was used to yank off, unless that's what they did, the Electoral Commission chair. And it was also, remember, on audit report dealings. There were petitions, but it had to do with audits. So all of a sudden, some people can be subjected to that. But those with MPP blood running through them, as for them, they are superior. You can't use that process on them.
So this is equalization.
Ridiculous. Even if it is equalization, how are you not able to take it? It is not. But I'm saying even if I make the argument that it is equalization, it shuts you up completely. So you should use a better argument in defense of the Chief Justice if you have any. But don't say that, it is just audit findings. It is 146 that day. Why? You use the same thing. So tell me that there's something wrong. Or tell me that you did something wrong which is being repeated. Then we can have a conversation. But don't act as if this is the first time we are seeing what is happening. It is not. And so let's take the whole, let's all take the water and move it. I'm saying that yes, if it is equalization, there's nothing wrong with it, because you have not admitted that what you did was wrong. If you say that what you did was wrong, then we can have a conversation as to how to go the right way. Then you talk about the Attorney General and look, Moro, you rightly indicated that, and it is in our Constitution, that justice is administered in the name of the people of Ghana. It is in the name of the people. And the Attorney General, when he is going to court against you, is convinced or ought to be convinced in his mind that you are guilty. And so it is on that basis that he proceeds to court. So if he comes to tell the people, I'm taking Richard Ahagba to court because I'm convinced he's guilty on ABC, and he tells the people, it is because the justice is to be done in the name of the people. And he's going along with them and telling them the reasons why he's taking Richard Ahagba to court. It is not grandstanding. It is not. And it is, like I said, it is done everywhere. And then maybe finally, I can see you are wrapping me up. You know, he says that, oh, we have paid 5 billion to what expense? Moro, to the expense of corruption and misuse of public funds. Because you see, in the past, because they were not doing the diligent payment of these monies, people had the opportunity to misuse and abuse them. Today, the National Health Insurance Authority is liquid. Over 4.6 billion. They have paid over 1.4 billion claims. The District Assembly Common Fund is liquid. The road contractors are getting 5 billion. More, I can go through the long list of payments that the Finance Minister has done. 5 billion of arrears paid. 4.6 billion to Ghana Education Trust Fund. Get Fund is liquid. 4.6 billion paid to them. You have 1 billion to the secondary education program. You have 4.6 billion to National Health Insurance. You have 252 million to vaccines and essential medicines. You have 72.8 million as capitation grant, which has been paid. You have 477 million LEAP paid.
All right.
All of these paid. I mean, BEC that were owing 122.8 million for BEC registration paid.
All right.
Can you imagine that under their government they couldn't pay that?
Okay.
So this is not a government that is, allowing the critical sectors of the economy to suffer.
All right. So it is
only corruption that is suffering.
Gentlemen, I just need 30 seconds to do this. So Seteya from GBC says that if the e-levy was that good, why did Dr. Mahmoud Bamia promise to cancel it?
Now he's blaming MPs
by updating Ghanaians
for
DDEP.
Interesting indeed.
And the aggrieved suspect can go to court. And then Triddle sends a message, says, good morning, Moro.
Enua victory garlic mixture na wati ni bi na ate ni say na eduro ni tie na no kwasem ne say eduro we adwuma ye titiri pa ne say ebeboa ananna ne srade ewo ni padua ni muntin mu ama ohu atwo kura de dika obabi wo ho a okomfikyiri a ema eduro awunya ye victory garlic mixture ebi kura wo bekọ a ewie wo ansa na ba ye victory e na wunya victory no ma na busumi biara ubenya ufichira akwa empa ho bra eno de akira obi wo ho aniti ne ta adwa no obi wo ho ye adwuma kakra bia no abre na nakoma bɔ ne periperi ni nyina ye mogya entimi mfa akoma nu nkwa adwen mu eno ne kofa saa de ne ba odofo mesrew so wo ho na wonsem ta adwew ebia wonsa no sei ana wonamro mu na esi fom no kra adwew ana ayetofo se de edi fom ato mpaboa mu a eya victory na me kan fom a Unum victory as I know my ever boss way now. Ebejai, your tower and a draw went in the win.